This week, I got an invitation to go to the Susan B. Anthony List Pro-Life Gala in Washington, D.C. And it was a celebratory event to celebrate, obviously, the overturning of Roe v. Wade, something the people at Susan B. Anthony, SBA, they call it, have been working on for 25 to 30 years. And so it was a joyful occasion. And you got there, and there was a huge protest going on outside. When you went inside, people were obviously very nice, well turned out at a Washington event and all this stuff, but they were also very, very prayerful. It was a prayerful event. And that includes people who might be a little pious for me, maybe a little, people who are a little bit too in your face with their religion. It's not something I actually prefer, but it included a lot of people who were not like that, but who were faithful, who believed in God. And the atmosphere was joyful. It was quietly prayerful. It was elevated. And it was beautiful. It was patriotic, but it was beautiful. It was celebrating the lives of unborn children and bringing those lives to fruition. And there were many people who were moved to tears in the course of the evening. A lot of big powerhouse politicians were there. Tim Scott was there, Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, a lot of others, Lindsey Graham, a lot of other senators, Kevin McCarthy from the House. And yet the whole thing was just a very, very polite, prayerful event. The people outside protesting, and it was a protest, and I have nothing against protests, although I think if all you can do is protest, maybe you're missing out on debating and listening to other people, looked to me demonic. The filth coming out of their mouth, they just four-letter word after four-letter word, sometimes repeated endlessly in chants, F you fascists, over and over and over again. I could see people from the event were getting unnerved by it. I'm not unnerved by it because I know that's what the world looks like. But also playing in loudspeakers that hip-hop music, which I just think I just think it's trash. I think putting that stuff in your head is a huge mistake. And it was so obvious, the difference between these people, that I just thought, gosh, look in the mirror. There was this clip going around that almost showed you the same thing. It was Lila Rose, and I love Lila Rose. She's from Live Action, also a pro-life thing, and she was on Dr. Phil, I believe it was, and a lady started arguing with her. And here's just a bit of this argument.
You have no empathy.
Abortion is devastating to women's mental health. No one talks about that. The year after a woman has an abortion,
what it's really like
the year after a woman
to have the child. What kind of trauma is that?
The trauma is from the rape.
Somebody?
The trauma is from the rape. The child's an innocent party there.
The child isn't born yet. It's not there.
We should not take out generational sin on a child to say there's generational sin and that dad was an abuser, so the child should be killed. That's not fair to the child.
We're talking about rights, and he just said a right has been taken away from us. And what is next?
I want to address that because our fundamental human right that we all share in this room is life. It's the first human right. Laws are meant to protect the weak. In a society, who's the weakest? Who's the weakest in the society? A child.
The poorest.
They don't have a voice. They can't speak. A child in the room.
That's
weak. But a poor child would be the weakest.
And we're going to keep them that way by
and a child with disability. Listen,
kids.
Whether you live 10 minutes or 10 years or 100 years, you're a human life, and you have the right to not be killed.
Now, I tweeted this clip around, and I pointed out that if you turn off the sound, you don't even have to listen to the words, though I'll get back to the words in a minute. Just look in their eyes. Look in their eyes. Lila Rose has eyes that are compassionate. She's speaking compassionately. She even has compassion for this person screaming. And then you look at this other woman, and I don't want to attack. I feel bad for her, actually. Her face is filled with piercing, and she's piercing herself, and her hair is kind of looking weird, and her eyes are just like hardened like rocks, and yet also kind of bright, as if they were lit from within by something that maybe she shouldn't have allowed to get in. That's the one thing that we just look at people. I felt bad when I was looking at these people outside this SBA dinner, that rage and the filth coming out of their mouth and the actual gleam of self-righteousness. I felt bad for them. I felt these are souls that maybe have gotten lost. I mean, if I looked in the mirror and saw those eyes coming out of me, I would change whatever opinion I had. I would change my opinion. I would think if this is what this is turning me into. But the other thing is the logic. The logic just completely disappears. I mean, Lila Rose is speaking pretty logically. Now, people can take different sides logically, but that's not what you're getting. There's another clip. I guess it was CNN, maybe it's MSNBC. It was Allison Camerata. Lindsey Graham has introduced a law that would federally ban abortion at 15 weeks. Now, some people are saying that's a stupid thing to do, but he's trying to basically show how extreme the other side is. They say it's stupid politically, but it's fascinating to me. This is CNN. Allison Camerata makes this remark about Lindsey Graham. She's making fun of him. Here she goes.
Kirsten, I want to stick with you. What is Senator Lindsey Graham doing? Why is he proposing? I mean, well, honestly, I don't understand this. Why is he proposing a federal anti-abortion law that would ban all abortion across the country at 15 weeks? I don't think that he understands how pregnancy works. You don't often get testing, important testing, until 20 weeks.
So I'm not sure. I'm an English major. I have a little trouble with the math, but 15 weeks is 3.5 months, right? I mean, 3.5 months. So I think if you're getting testing, you may not know. I guess maybe what she's trying to say is that you don't know whether this child has some kind of glitch that you want to kill it for. If that's your argument, but at 3.5 months, that's a child. There's like no getting around it. You're not talking about a clump of cells anymore. So she's kind of like they don't even hear what they're saying. I mean, Nancy Pelosi was making a joke about this. At 12, cut 12.
As I say, as a mother of 5 in 6 years and 1 week, I keep saying I respect everybody's view about how they decide to do what they do, and we should continue to respect their freedom to do so. But I think what you're seeing there is a conflict within the Republican Party. There are those in the party that think life begins at the candlelight dinner the night before. And these people are in defiance of that, right? They're in defiance of that.
So that's interesting. Yeah, it's nothing funnier than killing babies. It's just when I want a good laugh, I kill a child. But there are 3 arguments for abortion. There are 3 arguments that the left makes for abortion. One is the argument outside of time. We live in time, but suddenly they take time out of the equation. And the baby can't play chess, they say, so let's kill it. The baby can't suffer, it can't feel anything, which isn't true, but they say, it can't make decisions, so it's not really human. But of course, we live in time, right? So you can't kill a person when he's asleep because he'll wake up, and you can't kill a person when it's just a baby, not fully formed baby, because it will become a person. That we live in time. The second argument is the one that's good for any murder, is this person is in my way. I could be a rock star if my wife weren't holding me back. I could do whatever I want. I could have a much better life. I wouldn't be constrained to work in this crummy job if I didn't have this wife. That's the argument. Like, this child is going to get in my way. This child is going to hold me back. This child is going to hold me down. So I have the right to kill it. You can make that argument about any person who gets in your way. But the third argument is the argument from tragedy. That some situations are so tragic, there can't be a happy ending. Rape, incest, and the life of the mother are the ones that they draw out. And I agree, those are tragic situations. And if I ruled the world, I would come down on the side, except in this situation of the life of the mother, which is so rare these days, but I would come down on the side of the baby in rape and incest. But I do understand that that's a tragic situation. And I don't have the whole thing about tragedy is there are no good answers. That's what a tragedy is. A tragedy is a situation with no good answers, where either way you go, you're going to get pain and suffering and possibly death. So what the left and the media do is they take away every other situation, which is 99% of them, and they just focus on those. And Republicans have to be careful not to get caught in that overreach, not to get caught in saying, well, we don't care about that, because everybody feels the tragedy of it. That's why the left uses it. But the fact that they have lost all sense that our lives have moral meaning. It's just a clump of cells. I can't see it, so it's not there. It's not talking. It can't play chess. Why should I preserve this life? And that's what turns your eyes. That's what turns your eyes into those little flaming stones that the devil hands out after you've accepted what he's been whispering in your ear. The tragic situations, I'll leave them open to debate. I have no problem understanding that there's tragedy in life. But the rest, The rest will drive you crazy. Bad ideas will lead you into darkness. They really will. And one of the true worst ideas is to misunderstand that life is a series of tensions that hopefully drive us forward when we give each of them a voice. Klavan-y goodness at its goodest. And if you want more, like and subscribe to the Andrew Klavan Podcast.